Summer comes, it's kind of known. It's kind of a known thing. When summer comes, it gets hot. As it gets hot, people sometimes tend to lose their damn mind. Sometimes people tend to do things they wouldn't do in cooler climates that they end up doing in hot climates, like just all types of things. And it seems like NASCAR Cup driver Kyle Larson has decided to say to the world that Max Verstappen ain't a damn thing, that he himself is a better all-around driver, that he would whoop Max Verstappen's ass in anything else other than Formula One. He did say that I could not go to Formula One and win a race. Now, I don't know maybe if he thought that was like right off or at all, but I will say that there's a counter argument and there's some legitimate to that perspective that he has. Now, do understand, if I am no Max Verstappen fan, but I do recognize Max Verstappen's ability, his talent, and that's it, okay? Because I don't recognize at least 2 out of 3 of Max Verstappen's championships. I'm going to say that, but I will also say this. I'm not on Kyle Larson's side here. I'm not on Kyle Larson's side. And I'm not necessarily Max Verstappen's side, but if anything that I say happens to support Max Verstappen in this debate, then so be it. Criticize me however you wish for it, because this is shenanigans. Okay, this is malarkey. This is rubbish. Kyle Larson cannot be serious. Cannot be serious. But maybe he is. Okay? And I'm not saying that he's not a good driver. But I am going to say this. Let's look at some things. And definitely a good driver. But I'm gonna say this about Kyle Larson. Okay? And I will also say this. Is it not something to be said that Kyle Larson feels as confident as he does to come out and say this about Max Verstappen? Because a lot of us, and I'm including me, do believe Max Verstappen's praise on his driving is more of that dominant car that he has, because he still got that car, just other teams are equally competitive, and he's not doing so well. So maybe Kyle Larson recognizes some things, that Max Verstappen is not the driver that you all think he is. Max Verstappen side-by-side driving, we know, is ass. He's more of bull in China shop than he is a tactician. Okay, we know this. We've seen it. I don't think there's a lot of debate about that. Have we seen Max Verstappen do some awesome things in the car, recover from a spin out, put it in position sometimes? Yes, but when it comes to side-by-side driving, Max Verstappen definitely is not that. But I cannot sit here and say with confidence, although I'm not a Max Verstappen fan, that Kyle Larson could beat Max Verstappen. And he already said in Formula One. So I will say this. Let's look at what Kyle Larson did have to say. All right, we're going to take a look at this. He says, okay, Kyle Larson has claimed as more versatile driver than Formula One's 3-time champion, Max Verstappen. And I'm going to say that 3-time champion thing is a little bit faltered. We already know that 2021 was a scandal. 2022 cost cap car, pretty much illegal, people say. But, hey, 2023, all his. As he's speaking with Flow Racing via Newsweek F1, Larson did not mince words about his performance across various motorsport disciplines, stating empathetically, "I know in my mind I am better than Max Verstappen as an all-around driver." Okay, so when we put that into context, all-around driver, what are we saying? Are we saying just in these certain levels? Or are we talking about in different racing series? Now, do remember, there was a comment that Helmut Marko made that would legitimately call this into question, and we haven't seen it yet. Helmut Marko said that Max Verstappen could get inside of a Haas or an AlphaTauri and put it on pole. Whilst they have both teams at AlphaTauri, now Red Bull, Visa Cash App, and Red Bull, they never took the opportunity to show us that Max Verstappen could really do that. So I just need to know where we're going with this. Larson candidly discussed the highly specialized nature of Formula One racing, acknowledging the daunting challenge of tracks such as Monaco, which we all know Monaco right now is a trash track. it doesn't fit the racing. The cars don't fit. You can't pass. It's an outdated track. Let me not call it trash. It's an outdated track. I think it would make a wonderful soapbox racing track or a wonderful kart racing track. But as it is right now, as the Formula One cars sit in today's spec and moving forward, Monaco is outdated, it's outgrown, and it definitely shouldn't be on the calendar at this point in time, more than just a historical, nostalgic race on a break time. That's just how I feel. So he goes on to say, yet he was quick to express a bold opinion comparing himself with the reigning F1 champion, Max Verstappen. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of digging, just kind of poking around. It's not even a lot of journalistic digging. We're just going to do a little poking around at some things just to see, okay, where may all this stuff go or come from? That's what we're going to do, all right? So as we go right here, take a look at this. He says, there's probably no way I can go win a Formula One race at Monaco. Now, I don't know why he fixates on Monaco. I can't tell you why he's fixated on Monaco. All right, he's just at Monaco. So are you saying, Larson, that if there were any other Formula One track aside from Monaco that you would have a good chance at beating Max Verstappen after getting some seat time in a Formula One car? Because he's stuck on Monaco. And I'm not sure why you would stick at a track like that, because a track like that definitely has some nuances where you really need to know what and how to place a car. And I'm just gonna be bluntly honest. We all know NASCAR is a step up from bumper cars. Okay, let's just keep it real. When y'all go to COTA and a right-hand turn gets involved, y'all ain't looking so hot. It's probably not the best race of the season. Let's also keep it real. NASCAR is right now having to do so many shenanigans to get a traction. It's funny. Okay, now y'all giving away free passes. Cool, I'm cool with free. That's okay. I don't mind paying either. But now y'all throwing out here, going on a good track and throwing dirt all over it to try to make it interesting. And everybody got to wear masks and keep dirt all out their damn. I'm just saying NASCAR to me is not the best thing. I have never been or received an invitation from NASCAR, nor have I been to a NASCAR race and ever felt that it would be comfortable for me to go to a NASCAR race with you hanging nooses in Bubba Wallace's garage, with you allowing a plane to fly Confederate flag around the stadium with racist epithets, with you allowing people of white nature to be very racist at the track, in front of the track, and in the track. They barely wanted to give up the Confederate flag. So I'm not sure NASCAR in itself is the best thing, but I'm also going to say this. Do you not know, like I said, NASCAR is like a step up from bumper cars? Okay, it's not the same, bro. It's not even, you can look at it and tell it's not even the same level of complexity that a Formula One driver like Max Verstappen or the GOAT Lewis Hamilton would have to be up to in order to perform in those type of racing environments. Let's just keep that real right there. All right, let's go on. He says, there's probably no way. We got that. Just because of the car element. That's what gives me ease and confidence that, like, I know I'm better than him. He explicitly doubted Max Verstappen's ability to switch gears to NASCAR's hallmark event, stating, now, I'm going to ask Larson this. Just a question, Larson. Did you happen to see that Kimi Räikkönen did participate? I believe that was NASCAR stock car. But it was in your realm of racing that you currently are in now with Hendrick Motorsports. Did you see that? Kimi was doing pretty well. Now, I did clown him because he went out there and got his ass dusted because of the bumper car element. I mean, they ran him off track, really ran him off track. Should have probably been more prepared for it. But in NASCAR, you can do that. In Formula One, if you do that, your car is heavily compromised. The car's temperaments are completely different. Okay, I will lend you that. But because Formula One cars are so temperamental and delicate, you have to be that more of a tactician, a professional, a very dialed in driver and talented driver to maneuver at those speeds while competing and not tearing up the car. You go to the pit and they just ripping off panels and you taking your ass back out there to race. That's not the same. And I don't know that Kyle Larson could get into a Formula One car and compete on any circuit and finish the race without damaging somebody else and them not finishing the race. I'm not confident in that. I'm not saying Kyle Larson isn't a good driver. I'm just saying that in NASCAR, and I haven't seen you, has he been in Indy? I don't know. We can check it. Has he been in F3, F2? I don't know. We can check it. But as of right now, I don't know him to have that experience. I don't. So all this confidence he's got, I'm glad he's got it. I'm not trying to down anybody's confidence. I don't want to do that whatsoever. So he goes to say, there's no way Max Verstappen can get into a sprint car and win the Knoxville Nationals. There's no way he can go win the Chili Bowl. There's no way he can go win a cup race at Bristol. My bro Kyle said, bro, there ain't no way you can win at 3 different damn races. Kyle said Max Verstappen can't go win a Chili Bowl. He said Max Verstappen can't win at Bristol. He said he can't even win a damn sprint car series in Knoxville, Tennessee. Damn. Now notice, he ain't said nothing about Lewis Hamilton. This is purely about Max Verstappen. He ain't said nothing about Lewis. Why? Because you know what? Maybe people regard Lewis Hamilton and his accomplishments and what he's done in the sport higher than where they regard Max. It does say something about other drivers outside the sport of where you compete regarding and recognizing you as somebody whom not to be trifled with. We've seen Lewis Hamilton go over there with MotoGP and perform right there. We've seen him go over there and kind of mix and mingle. We've seen, what was it, Jeff Gordon? Lewis Hamilton and Jeff Gordon. We've seen Lewis Hamilton and Ken Block. We've seen Lewis Hamilton collaborate with other professional drivers that are elite in their sport, and their homage was paid to and fro. We don't see that with Max Verstappen. We don't. Rest in peace, Ken Block. Don't see him with Max Verstappen. Jeff Gordon, hadn't seen him with Max Verstappen. Was it Rossi? Hadn't seen him with Max Verstappen. I'm just saying, Lewis Hamilton is regarded different. And the thing is this, we've heard that Max said he wants to participate or compete in other racing series. So now it is starting to be talked about. Let me see what you can do in another racing series, because I don't think you can do it. Kyle Larson's, now I don't know if Kyle Larson's the best messenger for this, which we're going to get into that too. But I will also say this. In defense of NASCAR and other NASCAR drivers. I'm also not confident that Max Verstappen might do well. Well, I'll say this. I also think some people may not think Max Verstappen can do well in NASCAR as far as the rubbing is racing, but I would tell you to chill out there, because Max Verstappen is known for that in Formula One, and that's part of the problem with Max Verstappen. He's known to be a bull in China shop. So I'm not sure that people want to try to hang a cap on Max may not do well with the rubbing is racing in NASCAR, because that's part of his problem in Formula One. Max wants to force you into a situation where you're going to have to think about either you want to wreck your car and ruin your race, or you want to let him through. So I would have to say that Max Verstappen's mind frame to be able to make a transformation into that element of NASCAR really might not be that far off. It really might not be that far off. I'm just saying, just if that's something that you're trying to base your argument on, that NASCAR, they get in there and they fight. Max might not be able to fight. I would tell you to pump your brakes, because his nickname is Mad Max. His other nickname is Crash Strapping. Just saying. DJ Uno says, greetings, twin. There's a difference with NASCAR strategy in Formula One, as Max would struggle and do more whining, yet to be doubted. Now, I do also know that is a thing about Max Verstappen. He cries a lot. Max Verstappen does cry a lot. So it's some going back and forth on that. But as for me, I can't have it both ways and eat everything. I call Max a bull in China shop. I say that Max is going to wreck you out. So if I say that, then I can't say that Max wouldn't do well in NASCAR with the rubbing his racing thing. That would be contradicting myself in a very horrible way and intentionally, to be honest. So I can't say that. All right, so let's get back into this. Adding to the intrigue, Larson also touched on the debated topic of motorsports' potential inclusion in the Olympics, particularly with an eye on Brisbane 2032 games. He shared his mixed feelings about the plausibility and desirability of this idea, citing the integral role of machinery in motorsports, which, in his view, distracts from the pure athleticism celebrated in the Olympics. Well, Larson got a lot to say. He got a lot to say. He says, I don't foresee it being an Olympics, racing being the Olympics, because they are solely 100% about the athlete. Even if you had two cars sitting right here, if you said they are identical, they are not identical. That's why I don't think racing will be in the Olympics. That's a fair point. I think that's a fair point. And I think that also speaks to the situation that we know exists at Red Bull. Why Perez, Albon, Gasly were unable to at least perform to their abilities, because I don't think any of their abilities are as equal as Max Verstappen, but at least we all know, we've debated that the point that Red Bull builds this car so much in the direction of Max's driving style, which is on the nose, and it's been talked about by Alex Albon while he was on a podcast, that is a challenge that becomes an obstacle that you really can't get over, because they're unwilling to say, this car, we're going to take in this direction because this driver drives better, this car, Max. So I see his position on that Olympics, and I do agree. It's a combination of car, like we say in Formula One, combination of car, team, and driver. Well, a lot of people just think Max Verstappen's doing everything. How's he doing now? How's he doing now? Because at this point in time, he has a car that's still dominant. He has a car that's still very competitive, but the problem is other teams have developed cars to this point that are equaling that competition, and Max is not doing so well. Max is not doing so well. And we need to keep that real. I showed you all the graphic about Max Verstappen and his ability right now in a car, as far as when it comes to him competing well and not doing well because other cars and other drivers around him are starting to have equally competitive cars. And I only think it's right to say, well, that's part of his problem. Part of a lot of y'all's problem. Y'all thought Max Verstappen was all it was to be in that car, and that's not the case. Max Verstappen has a car that was very dominant, and Max Verstappen is a front runner. And at this point in time, front running is not doing well for Max Verstappen because the car is not far beyond other teams and where they are right now. Right? We talked about this, and I mentioned this, and I stand by this, because right now, as you see right here, Max Verstappen, out of the and this is not even updated, has been off a podium, has only won 2 races out of that, 28% win rate out of 7 races, while these cars and these teams have started competing equally and managing performance. So what's up? So I'm not saying that Kyle ain't got some business being where he is saying that, but I still do not believe NASCAR is more complicated or challenging than Formula One. Come on. When are we going to see a NASCAR driver come over to Formula One? I don't even think it's happened historically. And if it had, it wasn't even, it didn't work right. I think the first case that we could say was really T. Ribs going and getting with Don King, Bernie Eccleston, and happening to test out. But I think we all know Willie T didn't get the job, not because he wasn't capable, and this is just Willie T, but that was because they wanted an Italian in that car versus a Black American. But we've seen Formula One drivers go over to NASCAR. Kimi wasn't the first one. He didn't finish well. I wish he would have tried to compete again. So there's a challenge. There's a defined answer that needs to happen here. And I don't know if we're ever going to get it, but when it finally happens, maybe this debate will be put to rest. Maybe. So I'm really kind of waiting to see if that ever happens. I don't know if it will ever happen, but I know right now Max Verstappen has been called out as far as his ability to cross over. So let's look at some things, because I do think that there is something to look at. I think we also need to be fair in looking at some statistics, looking at how did these drivers perform in their situations. I think that's something that also needs to be looked into. And I think it's only right to look into it. So let's look into it. Let's check it out. Let's look at some of these statistics from these drivers and see how they actually competed in other series to work their way up to where they are actually now. Because I think that's important, don't you? Don't you think that's important? I think it's important. I think it's important to see how they competed, because he said the better all-around driver. And if you are the better all-around driver, I would expect to see some accolades. I would expect to see some accolades. So here it is right here. We're going to look at Larson, okay? Larson driving for Hendrick Motorsports. We're going to look at this. Now, what I'm going to say is right now, Larson is first. Right now, 2024, he's currently first in his championship section, okay? He's currently first. He's slotted first. I will also say that Max Verstappen is first right now. So they're both first in 2024. But Max Verstappen has a slew of championships, at least 3, and I don't like the way they pose it, trying to make it look like 4, but it's not. It's that Red Bull changed their name to Oracle Red Bull, and they felt the need to put the same damn stat up here twice, which is kind of shenanigans. It's kind of trickery. But Max Verstappen right now, 3 championships, while Larson has 1 championship down here in 2021. Okay, so I'm going to say we both have some champions here. One a multiple-time champion, one a one-time champion. But my thing is, if you're the better all-around driver, I want to see what else you've won championships in, Larson. I want to see what else you've won championships in. And then let's look and see about Max Verstappen, because some things might be kind of funny here. So here's Larson. We're going to scroll down. And matter of fact, let me fix this up a little bit so we can see the series that they're driving in. Let's fix this up just a tad so we can see what these racing series are. All right, let's do that, because I think that is also important. So I want to bring that up so we can try to see the whole screen. It's a little hard to see it all, but we're going to do our best to bring it in screen so we can check that out. And hopefully it's not too big, but it is too big anyway, that could be said in more ways than one. So it is what it is. So you're just going to have to take my word for it that what series we're looking into and what year it is. So just bear with me. So right here, Larson has his championship in 2021. This is 2021 right here. All right. If we scroll down, Larson was 34th in this series, but there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. If we go to 2019, he was 6th in the Chip Ganassi Racing. He was with Chip Ganassi. I think Alex Palou is over there now in Indy. If we go down here, 9th, 8th, 19th, 17th, and 57th with Phoenix Racing. So I'm just saying, before your championship, this is not looking that damn hot. It's not looking that damn hot. Okay, so we're gonna give Larson a little bit more opportunity. Okay, we're gonna go down here and see what he did at Arrow McLaren. Arrow McLaren entrance for IndyCar Series, 36th. An IndyCar Series, a racing series that sometimes is talked about in the realm of Formula One, you was 36th. 36, dog. I mean, you really didn't do much there. Why? What happened? I don't know. I'm not going to look into it great, but I just know you didn't do much. So as we go down here to the NASCAR Cup Series non-championship, yeah, that don't look so good either. I mean, that don't look too hot either, dog. So we're going to go down here to NASCAR Xfinity Series. I don't see any championships, Larson. I don't see no championships here. I don't see any championships, Larson, in none of these. 2013, 2015, no championships. We go down here to NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Again, I ain't seeing championships, Larson. 86, 115th, 82nd, 93rd, 91st, 85th, 35th. Larson, your case about all-around driver is not looking ultimately strong right here. But I'm willing to give you a chance just like we are. So let's go to these other series right here and check these out. All right, so we got 8th, we got 80th, we got 87th, we got 83rd, we got 74th. That ain't looking hot either, Larson. And as we go down here to check out your your sports car championship series, 29th, 23rd, and 46th. So better all-around driver, won championship in all those years of racing since 2014, which I believe Max Verstappen, that was a 24-hour Daytona. Max Verstappen started about 2014, 2015, all right? So let's go to, but right now he is first, Larson's first, and he did win a championship. Let's go to Max Verstappen stats. Max Verstappen, 3-time champion. 2020, he was third. 2019, he was third. 2018, 2017, 4th, 6th, 5th, 12th. All right, so he played around there. If we go down to his 24-hour Le Mans, there's nothing there to even talk about, okay? We go down to Formula 3. There ain't nothing there to really talk about either. Right here, this Formula 3, Max Verstappen, this is for Formula 3. Right here, what you're seeing. Ain't nothing really there to talk about either. Then we go down here to Formula 3 European, and he got third. So the case for Max prior to Formula 1 really ain't that great either. Because Max has only been a champion in Formula 1. He wasn't a champion in F3. He wasn't a champion in F3 Macau. He wasn't a champion there. He wasn't a champion in Le Mans Virtual. He didn't win the championship there. 0 points. He probably backed out of that shit, I think. Probably because he cut somebody off and just ran across and beat the hell out, just ran into somebody. It was his daddy who beat somebody up, assaulted a man at a track because of his damn temper, and then ex-wife hit with a car. And then we go into his racing as he entered Formula 1 2015, and we see he was 12th with Toro Rosso, Red Bull 5th. Do you realize that automatic jump? While people say Max Verstappen is the catalyst, do you realize, change teams, bow, all of a sudden you go from being 12th to Toro Rosso to being 5th. Okay, I'm just saying. 5th, 2016, 2018 6th, no, 2017 6th, 2018 4th, 2019 3rd, 2020 3rd, 2021 championship, and that was a mockery, and then so on. And right now you're first, and you haven't been on pole often, and you haven't been on the podium a few times, and you haven't won a race. So I will say that while there are records for previous racing in different series, although Kyle participating with truck, with car, and Indy, I'm not sure Kyle's got an extensive case or a strong case to say that he better than Max Verstappen. I can't say that. We would need to see Kyle come over officially. Can you work your way into F3? How about that, Kyle? How about that? Kyle, can you get into F3? I'm just saying, can you get into F3, get into F2, and work your way into F1? That's what we need to see. No way you just get a chance to jump into Formula 1 like you hot, like this Fast and the Furious. Can you get into F3 and win F3? A lower series than Formula 1. If you can't win there, sir, then you got to shut the hell up. You got to shut up. And Max, the same goes, but Max is not the one talking right now. Max is not the one saying these things. But could Max go over to a NASCAR Cup Series and win? If that does happen, Kyle looks like a fool. If it never happens, Kyle doesn't necessarily look like a fool here. It might be legitimate because we haven't seen them put Max in a Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri or Red Bull Visa Cash App and show us he could put it on pole. And Kyle, you didn't do so well at NASCAR. I think Kyle Larson would struggle. I think it's Larson, though. I think this is Kyle Larson, but I get you, bro. I get you. Would struggle in an F1 car. The G-forces in the F1 car is more difficult to endure versus NASCAR. That's a very good point, Derwin. That's a very good point, bro. And that does matter. Like, that takes a lot of conditioning and time. And Max Verstappen has been conditioning his body for over 10 years now to those type of forces being applied to his body. Meanwhile, NASCAR, I think I'm just going to get dizzy. Okay. Furthermore, NASCAR drivers rely too much on their spotter. Derwin. Oh, digging up some dirt right there, bro. Ooh, those are some good tidbits. That is very true. NASCAR drivers are heavily relied upon. No, they are heavily relying on their spotters to feed them to basically baby feed them the entire time they're on track. They are even telling them, "Oh, be careful, car low, car high, collision there, go around, do this. You got this." That's very true. And in Formula One, that's not allowed. You cannot assist the driver to that degree. Okay, you can tell them what you can about the car. You can tell them, hey, we got this far off pace, whatever. But NASCAR drivers get a way more mouth spoon feeding than Formula One car drivers could ever dream of imagining to get. There, Derwin, very good one right there, sir. Good one right there, sir. So yeah, my opinion right now is that no, I cannot say that Kyle Larson is a better overall driver. Although I can see a case in which somebody could debate that, being that Max Verstappen has not competing in another driving series. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson has competed in several different platforms within NASCAR. I mean, he competed in IMSA, all right, Daytona. He went into, of course, eNASCAR, iRacing Pro, which we ain't going to count that, but I showed it. He's the Craftsman Truck Series and Xfinity Series, which, you know, those kind of cars are all the same going up from Xfinity to, and then Indy Cup, which, you know, that's a different platform too. But you didn't win championships at all those levels. So I don't know how good you can actually, how good of an all-around driver you could be. So there's some debate that can go back and forth. But in my opinion, I'm more on the side that Max Verstappen might be a better all-around driver. And I also believe that if Max sticks true, and saying true and Max in the same sentence can almost seem as a contradiction. But if Max holds true to what he said before, he said he wants to compete in a different racing series. I do think we see Max Verstappen make a move to show us whether this is true or not before we see Kyle Larson make a move showing us if it's true or not in his favor. And I don't think that's going to take long to come. I do think probably by 2028, because I think that is when Max Verstappen's contract goes to. I think that's when this contract that he's in now expires. I don't know if he renews that contract. I think Max Verstappen is serious about trying to go somewhere else and compete in different racing series. I do. And I think that might actually happen. Now, if he doesn't do it, then he was talking a bunch of smoke. And that to me would be more accurate to what I think about Max than some of the other things that people want to say about Max. Max, sometimes people talk about Max like talk about Trump. Like I had a disagreement with somebody telling me about Trump, trying to talk to me about Trump and about how he's for black people and all the things he's done for black people. I'm black. I'm a black American. I ain't seen a lot of shit that Trump did for me. And then let me tell you what the jackass did. What the jackass did, the jackass sent me a website promotional propaganda post that said all the things that Trump has done for black Americans. And you know what a lot of that stuff entailed? A lot of that stuff entailed things that were for prison reform. And that's disrespectful. So you telling me the only thing that Trump has done for black people is try to do prison reform? So you sending that to me, somebody ain't a criminal. So 90% of hard sentences, shorten minimum sentences, allow offenders sentenced under racially motivated mandatory, launch ready to work initiatives for people that have been in prison. That was just disrespectful, and then it shows how ignorant you are. So a lot of times, Max fans can be kind of like Trump fans. There's some correlation there. But as it sits right now, I don't hate to say it because it just is what it is. I don't think that Kyle Larson's a better driver than Max Verstappen. And until there's something to show me different, then I'm going to stand by that. Max is a multiple-time champion, and I know how he got it, but let's just be real. I think I've seen better things from Max, left and right-hand turns, up elevation, down elevation, S's, all of that stuff. Max driving on a regular basis in Formula One would tell me that he's a better driver than you in NASCAR, which you're just making a bunch of, I mean, you don't even need a right-hand blinker. You just need to keep your left-hand blinker on. So no, Kyle, I ain't buying that. I think you had some good points as it's set to the Olympics. But that's about it. So NASCAR fans hate it or love it. NASCAR is not more challenging than Formula One. It just is not. So, with that being said, this is Wolfpack. We just finished having a grudge race. We're going to have F1 Minute tomorrow, and this is going to be a topic on F1 Minute. So if NASCAR fans, Formula One fans, you want to show up tomorrow on the live talk show where you get to come on, talk to me, say your opinion, speak your truth, whatever it is you believe in on the topic, come on. You're going to be able to call in live and do that. F1 Minute will be on tomorrow. We're going to go live, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe even earlier. I'll post the link, see the link. The live call link will be in the description and the live chat, and you can come on and tell me what the hell you think about this topic and other topics that we will talk about. So, Wolfpack is out. I'm not hungry anymore because I did eat, and we are out. Peace.